Hello, good evening. Welcome to Sports Today. And as you can see, I've just got bored of a painting behind me, so I thought I'd add some greens to the show today. And of course, if Rishabh Pant had not hit a beautiful knock, a breathtaking knock of 103 out of 73 deliveries, which had nine fours and six sixes at a strike rate of 141.1, we'd probably not be doing this piece. But the man did that. And of course, the big question now arises as to who should India play, Wriddhiman Saha or will it be Rishabh Pant? But Boryada and Deepdas Gupta have joined me here. Good evening, gentlemen. And Boryada tells us that we have an indication of Wriddhiman Saha being chosen for the test at Adelaide. Is that right, Boryada?
That is right. And we can say this that it's a bit of a breaking news here on Sports Today from what I hear from the Indian camp. It is Wriddhiman Saha, who at this point in time is the first choice. The reason why Wriddhiman Saha is being tipped as the first choice is when he got that 50 in the first practice game. It was against a full-fledged Australian A pace attack. And I insist on the word pace. And secondly, there will be exaggerated movement of the pink ball in Adelaide, especially when it is towards the early part of the evening, dusk, and then the last session of the day. The last session, unlike the first session in a conventional test match, will be the most difficult to encounter. So Wriddhiman Saha can do that behind the stumps better with the exaggerated movement. Both of these things combined, the Indian think tank, from what I understand, is at this point in time inclined towards Wriddhiman Saha with 2 days to go for the Adelaide test.
All right. But Deep, I mean, Rishabh Pant can, I mean, when it comes to batting capabilities, Rishabh Pant is always regarded higher than Wriddhiman Saha. Now, having said that, Wriddhiman Saha is also considered the best wicketkeeper for India in Test cricket, and of course, ranked very highly across the world. So, say a Hanuma Vihari at number six sort of compensates for a Rishabh Pant at number seven.
I wouldn't say that. Okay, I know. I mean, there's a perception that Ridhiman will struggle as a batsman overseas. I mean, listen, let's not forget he's got a Test 100. I mean, a couple of Test 100s, Ridhiman as well. So he's no muppet with a bat. But there is a perception that overseas he might struggle. He might find it more challenging. Well, I can understand why people say that, but listen, he hasn't been tested as yet. So it'll be unfair to say that he will. He might. That's a different issue. Rishabh, yes, obviously you have to also think about. Let's break it down. Okay, let's break it down. Let's start with wicket keeping. There is not an iota of doubt that Ridhiman is a better wicket keeper than Rishabh. Having said that, Rishabh is a very safe keeper and he's a much improved wicket keeper in the last year or so. But having said that, Ridhiman for me is the best wicket keeper in the world right now. So he's the best wicket keeper. Batting wise, again, leaving the perception aside, what might work in favor of Rishabh is the fact that he's got 100 last time India was there. That is one. Secondly, also, what kind of batting are you looking at? Are you looking at a counter-attacking batting? I'd say I'll keep Rishabh ahead of Ridhiman when it comes to counter-attacking batting, right? Let's understand one thing, and Boria, correct me if I'm wrong, that this is not going to be a high-scoring game, right? Day and night games will not be a high-scoring game. We're looking at a 250 kind of a game, right? And obviously, the seamers will be on top more often than not in the test match. So now, what might work in favor of Rishabh Pant is that counter-attacking batting. Do you need a batsman? Again, both of them might get 50s, right? But Rishabh might get it in a different way where he counter-attacks the bowler. Ridhiman might get in a different way where he might struggle a bit, take a few blows and, kind of, just hang in there. Like he batted, he got a zero, but he batted for 22 deliveries or 23 deliveries. So he might play that kind of a knock. So again, it boils down to what kind of knock you're looking at from your wicketkeeper batsman.
Yeah, and I would just add to that actually, Boryada. I mean, if you take a look at Rishabh's recent knock, it was not just that 103 that he put up, but also the strike rate at which he put up, also the audacity with which he played some of the shots. So, what gives Saha that edge? You did explain about the fact that Saha's recent 50 plus score, and of course Saha's recent outing in the IPL with Sunrisers Hyderabad, which also proved to be a game changer, adds to the fact that he gets that edge. But why would you say not a Rishabh Pant?
Because the other thing is, when Rishabh got that 100, you've got to sort of put it in perspective a little bit, not to take anything away from Rishabh. He's one of our favorites and he's definitely one for the future. and there's no debate. Deep and I both agree on this, that he's got an incredible amount of talent. And I was there in Sydney when he got that 100 the last time round. It was a breathtaking knock. I mean, I was, sort of sitting with actually Pat Cummins' father. And I remember him saying, wow, man, this guy, we've not seen anybody as good as this wicketkeeper young man in Australia. He's taken the match away. And by that evening, Australia was deflated. Had it not been for the rain the next day, it would have been 3-1 India. So that kind of a knock Rishabh played, and that 100 in England, all said and done, this 100 that he got, the bowlers who were there, the bowlers who were there, not the four fast bowlers, not Will Sutherland, not Jack Wildermuth, not Sean Abbott, not Harry Conway. So the spinners were bowling, and Rishabh Pant sort of took a toll on the spinners. Again, not to take anything away, but he did not face the challenging fast bowlers that you are expected to face with the pink ball come Adelaide. As a result of which, if you really ask me to rate that 100, if it was sort of right there on 90, I would say maybe it comes down to 70. That's why also I think the Indian think tank is veering towards Wriddhiman Saha, who, when he got that 50, the top Australian bowling attack was there on song. So Wriddhiman Saha is one, no mark with the bat, as Deep said. Number two, whoever is safer, who is expected to do better. And this is not about being safe, because if you see the pink ball, and David Warner and I were chatting, and he said, have you seen the movement of the pink ball? This is something I want to ask you, Deep, also. He said the pink ball gets softer. And I'll come to that, but after this Saha thing is done. And he said, look at the exaggerated movement with that pink ball. There, I think Wriddhiman Saha scores a point over Rishabh Pant. Pant looks leaner. If you see Pant, he shed weight. He looks fitter. Having said that, if you saw Riddhiman's outfield catch, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
In terms of athleticism, in terms of all of that, I think Wriddhiman Saha slightly ahead as a wicket keeper. And finally,
Yeah.
what Deep said, 250 is the score. Your number 7 batsman will not win you a game. Whatever happens. Wriddhiman Saha, Rishabh Pant will not win you a game. Deep, there's a final school of thought which is saying, no Hanuma Vihari, play both. Play Rishabh as a batsman. I don't agree with that, just by way of whatever.
No, I listen. For me, Hanuma has proved enough. Borian Ridhima, I think, he's somebody who's always under the radar. But every time India is, more often than not, he's bailed India out a few times. Listen, just because he keeps quiet and all doesn't mean every time you need a player to be out of the side, you get Hanuma out of the side. Just because he doesn't talk enough in media or whatever, he doesn't have a social media following as some of the others have. So please don't go after him. I think he's done more than enough to prove that if you need a 6 batsman, he's the guy for you. So I'm not going to touch Hanuma. I will never do that. I will not play both of them. I would keep Wriddhiman Saha ahead. But I will also look at Rishabh. I will look at them, how they're batting. I know what Boria is saying, and I agree. Wriddhiman Saha should be ahead, looking at a 250 game, and the fact that you will need a good keeper. You need a better keeper, I'd say, not a good keeper. I think that's a wrong statement to make. A better keeper behind the stumps when there is so much of movement, your edges and all that. So I'm going to keep Wriddhiman a little ahead of Pant at this point in time.
Yeah. But Boyada, you gave us some numbers, but here are Wriddhiman's numbers in Australia. In the last 6 innings, he's got 111, averaged 18 point something, the best figures being 35 down under. So those are his figures in Australia. That's not really an up to the mark figure when it comes to number 7. And having said that, the fact that you also say that a number 7 may not win you matches, but then an Adam Gilchrist did that for Australia, sort of strengthened the batting for Australia in the lower middle order. What would you say in that case?
Neither of these two are Adam Gilchrist yet, one. Number two, I mean, they are not Joss Butler also, when it comes to batting ability. When the ball moves as exaggerated movement like the pink ball, you are up against Stark, Hazelwood, Pat Cummins and whoever bowls. I honestly don't think that, and the statistic you gave me, that includes the Wriddhiman Saha brain fade in Adelaide in 2014. Had he not had that brain fade then, I think Wriddhiman Saha by now would have played 20 more test matches for India. That one innings of Nathan Lyon, Virat Kohli setting it up, and this man having a rush of blood, stepping out after that 6 gone. I mean, I can still visualize that dismissal, and I'm like, why? So Riddhiman Saha has done that to his career. But I think this series, over the last 2-3 years, if you see, he's also matured. Deep made this point very much about Bengalis, and this is nothing to do with Bengalis, by the way. This show, several of us, when we tweeted this, people started saying, "Oh, Deep Das Gupta, Boria Majumdar, Bengalis." Folks, for us, India matters way more than Bengal. I give a damn for Bengal. You know, I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, I'm making no qualms about it. I'm Bengali, yes, but when it comes to India, it's India. So please don't tell us parochial and Bengali and all that. That's nonsense. Having said that, I do think Riddhiman Saha has matured over the last 3 years. If you see that, you will see him taking responsibility as a senior player. He knows his limitations. He will perform within his limitations. I don't think you should go by that 18 stat. And finally, you get me a 20 in a 250 game, I'll take it.
Okay. All right. So we've got a couple of questions here that our viewers are asking. Our comment section is buzzing. And let's take them one by one. We'll start with Chattali saying that Pant was the second highest run scorer for India and Australia last time. So, of course, we've also explained why, Saha makes a better case. But anything that you'd like to say to Chatil Mayant,
Deep,
Boryada or Deep? Yeah.
Listen, I do understand that, and that's exactly my point. My point is, what are you looking at? Again, like Boria mentioned, what we are trying to do is put across our.
Deep, before you continue, is there any way you can switch, sort of get your light up a little bit? All of
Yeah,
a sudden it's
I,
very
I,
dark.
I'll answer this and I'll answer this and I'll sort this out. Right.
Okay.
For me, yeah, I do understand what the question is about in terms of Rishabh doing so well in the last series, got 100 as I mentioned. But Pink Ball, it's a little bit of a difference there. That is one. Secondly, also that was 2 years ago. You also have to figure out what's happening right now. I never thought. I mean, I always believe that someone like Riddhiman Sah's batting is extremely underrated just because he does not look orthodox. Uh, but again, I like I said, for various reasons, I'm going to keep Riddhiman a little ahead of Rishabh Pant, playing Riddhiman ahead of Rishabh Pant. But I will not completely rule out Rishabh Pant if he plays, or I'll understand if Rishabh Pant plays because both of them bring different things to the table. Now it boils down to the team management. What do they want from their wicketkeeper batsman?
Okay. We've got an Aryan saying, for me, it's all about who can take India from a 200 for 7 to 270. Your thoughts?
That's a very
Exactly.
way to look at it. A very good way to look at it, Boria and Ridhima. If team management's looking for something like that, again, what is because both of them are very different in what they have to offer, Ridhiman and Rishabh. Bottom line is, as a team management, are you going to show faith in your top six and say, listen, you know what? I rather have a very good wicket keeper behind the stumps and maybe compromise a little bit with the batting, or I'm looking at, I don't know whether my first six will contribute enough or not. I want seventh batsman, as in a proper batsman. I might compromise a little bit with the wicket keeping. So it boils down to the team management. What are they looking at?
Okay. We've got Rajasthan Royals tweeting, texting us here on comments and saying that Hanuma Vihari criminally underrated. Boryada?
100%. And I've got a lot of time for Hanuma Bihari. I mean, if you see the last time round, this fellow was asked to open, for God's sake, in Melbourne when India dropped the two openers, and he did the job. He played some 40-50 odd balls, did the Akash Chopra kind of job. And these kind of knocks, I mean, shows character. Even in the last game, India 2 down, Hanuma Bihari comes, gets 100. Hanuma Bihari, as Deep said, very rightly so, when in the West Indies, in away tours, he's done enough to merit a spot in that team. Make no mistake, he will play. After Virat Kohli comes back, I still think he's number 6 because Ajju comes 4 and then maybe Shubman or KL can come 5. And Hanuma sticks to number 6. So I have zero doubt, and I agree with Rajasthan Royals, if whatever his name is or her name is, that Hanuma Bihari is underrated. He will bowl the occasional off spin. During the day when you want your premier bowlers to take a bit of rest, he can come and bowl that channel, bowl 5-6 overs, give them a bit of a break also, pick the occasional wicket. Hanuma Bihari has a lot of utility for this team.
Superb. Boryada, we've got another question coming away. We've got Ankit asking, Boryada, who is the proven match winner and who has the X factor, Pant or Saha for you?
No, again, how do you analyze that? I mean, if you think only hundreds win you cricket matches, I mean, just think this way, no, 150 for five. There is an edge which is going in front of first slip, and that edge is from a batsman called Steven Smith. You drop that, or you don't go for that, and that fellow gets you 100, and Australia becomes 300 for five or 300 for six, and even if India gets to 250 or down, you're gone. So why are you only thinking of runs? If you know, look, Tim Paine is not as good a batsman as Matt Wade. He's not. He's Australia's
Very
premier keeper. If I know that Tim Paine has come because of Sandpaper Gate and all that. I take that. Ian Healy would not have played 100 Test matches. Trust me. I mean, Adam Gilchrist came, and Adam Gilchrist is a once in a generation player. But even after Adam Gilchrist played, he waited for a couple of years for Ian Healy. Ian Healy played why? He was very Tim Paine, Riddhiman Saha, Deepdas Gupta, that school, proper wicket keeper. Rishabh Pant, incredible talent, but I somehow feel because it's Adelaide, had it been a day test match in a relatively batting friendly, even if it's Adelaide in a non day night test, Rishabh Pant, that wicket. But because it's pink ball, and believe me, that ball will zoop, zoop, and it's unbelievable what happens with that pink ball. Deep and I were together in Calcutta. Deep, you remember that evening when we were going down to do our show, and that Shami was bowling? What was happening? Couple of people will get knocks on the head. Somebody will get a concussion. All of these things will happen. There, I think, for some reason, I think Riddhiman's a better bet. Is that why you would agree also? Can't hear you, Deep.
Deep,
Are you
you're
on
on
mute?
mute. You're on mute.
Yeah,
You're
sorry.
on mute.
That's the reason I'll keep Ridhiman a little ahead in this test match, particularly because I would be looking at a better keeper uh, than a better batsman, because I'm looking at a 250 run game, and I'm going to trust my top six to give me those runs and plus. And Ridhiman also will contribute. Also will contribute. Like I said, if you're looking for a counter-attacking batsman and you're looking at 150 for five, and then a wicket-keeper batsman comes, as my Aryan I think mentioned, 200 for seven and taking it to 270. If that's what you're looking at, that's one way of looking at it. Or the other way of looking at it is, like Boria said, 150 for five, edge, single-handed in front of the first slip, and you change the game with your keeping skill. So it depends what you're looking at. I would say, you know what, I'm going to play six batsmen with Hanma Vihari at six. I'm going to back them to get me those 250 plus runs. And I'm going to go with the best wicket keeper that I have.
Awesome. We've got a very interesting question by Ajinkya. He's asking, why can't we ask our bowlers who they want as the keeper, just like David Warner was asked who wants to be his opening partner? Anything that you want to tell Ajinkya?
Listen, if you ask me, I don't think that's a fair call. I don't think it's a fair call. And you might have the answer anyways. You might not even have to ask them. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to go that way. And listen, you are dividing the team. I mean, you go and say, you know what, who would you prefer? I don't know that's a great idea or not. I don't know how Burns will take it, whatever Warner had to say. I mean, or other way around. Sorry, not Burns. How Harris will take it. I think he mentioned Burns, right? Joe Burns, that he wants Joe Burns to kind of open with, isn't it, Boria?
Yeah.
Yes, David Warner.
The other thing you must address, I was about to tweet the other day and let it go. There is this statistic doing the round. Rishabh Pant has a catching efficiency of 87%.
Yeah.
Riddhiman Saha has a catching efficiency of 75%, 72%, whatever. It is doing the rounds on Twitter after I said Riddhiman Saha is a better keeper. It is doing the rounds. Now, if somebody comes to me, whoever it is, I mean, even if it's the greatest cricketer on earth, and comes and says Riddhiman Saha is a bad wicket keeper, trust me, he's a great wicketkeeper. Not good, not very good, but great wicketkeeper. So this catching efficiency, Deep, can you just put it in perspective, the statistics?
Right. So basically, I know this website as well, where they do all this efficiency and all. So what happens is they look at how many catches you went for and how many you caught and how many you dropped. Not went for, how many you caught and dropped. Now, my point is, there are catches which you might not have gone for as well, right? You first slip, you must have You could have let it go without even attempting for it. So that doesn't come. I don't think that will come as it. And listen, with all due respect, I mean, that's their way of looking at the game. That's not my way of looking at the game. And it is their assessment, what they consider as a catch taken or a catch dropped, right? My assessment of a catch taken or catch drop could be different. So I rather trust what I've seen or my assessment than go by sheer numbers, because yes, numbers are important. They tell you a story, but they don't tell you the whole story. So it is you've got to read between the lines. So for me, I think those numbers, they do say a thing, that do say that Rishabh, at times we don't give enough credit to Rishabh as a wicket keeper. I think he's a good keeper, and especially in the last year, he's improved a lot. But obviously, if you have to compare as a keeper between Riddhi and Rishabh, I'd say Riddhi is definitely ahead. But having said that, again, a lot of people say Rishabh is a bad keeper, but he's not a bad
No,
keeper.
no.
He's a good
Yeah.
keeper, and he's improved and he's improving. And as Boria mentioned, let's not forget, he is the future. If he keeps everything, if he keeps it under control, he is our future. So let's not take that away as well from the table.
Yeah.
There's a
I
question
think,
section. That's why
yeah.
I addressed it with him. I mean, when I saw that stat, trust me, numbers and mathematicians don't make this game, because this game is a subjective game, and
Yeah.
that's why it is what it is. I mean, if you go and ask a Tendulkar that what is your best innings, he will not say my best innings is the highest score that I got, 248 against Bangladesh. I'm sorry, he won't say that. If you go and ask anybody for that matter, go and ask that what is your best innings. Now, if you say that my best innings is the highest score I got, no, that best innings could well be a 40 or a 50 or a 60. For example, Sunny Bhai, Sunil Gavaskar got a 236 against Pakistan in Chennai, not out. Now, my best innings, from what I remember, is the 96 that he got in his last
Yeah.
test match. Now, that was what was it? It was a minefield. Iqbal Qasim and people were just, it was those rank turners, happening. Sunil Gavaskar 96 is an education for anybody wanting to play spin. Right. So that
Yeah.
is what it is. And unless you bring subjectivity into the sport, then there is no sport. Put an artificial intelligence computer to take all your decisions. He will be captain, he will be coach, he will do your math, he will do your numbers. Come on, yeah. That doesn't happen. And Deep is 100% right. Ball goes towards first slip. A safe wicket keeper will leave it. Ridhiman Saha will go for it. Somebody will go for it. Take an acrobatic dive. Now ball goes for a four. So are you going to blame him for that and say he's dropped a catch? Come on, yeah. Rishabh Pant is good. Make no mistake. I am saying because it's Adelaide, because there will be exaggerated movement of the pink ball, batting will anyway be difficult. So the percentile, if you really want to go numbers, is stacked against the batsman. In such a situation, is one catch or one such is more important, maybe of a Steven Smith? I think it is. I will go with Riddhiman Saha for this test match and then maybe reassess come the second one.
Right. Also, gentlemen, I think Saha makes a comfortable choice here, given the combination that is playing. Like you guys very clearly mentioned, that Vihari comes in there at number six to sort of make
Yeah.
things much more interesting and give India that aggressiveness to the lower middle order. So that's the reason why Riddhiman Saha finds a comfortable place. Is that the unanimous choice on this panel?
Yes, I guess one is that because you are going in with six batsmen, and six batsmen is Hanuma Bihari. For me, I think he's done nothing wrong in his test career. Every time he's gone out there, he's been very, very impressive. So you're playing six of them. You're playing first as Virat is also available. Ajinkya looks in good form. Cheteshwar's got runs. Uh, Shubman Gill, according to me, should open. So Shubman Gill is looking phenomenal. So is Mayank. So listen, you trust your top six to get you those runs. And another thing, there is this perception battle, right? As in perception that Riddhiman can't bat or is a poor batsman, and Rishabh is a poor wicket keeper, and both
Both
of
are
them
wrong.
are both those perceptions aren't correct. While I will not say Rishabh is a better wicket keeper than Riddhiman, I will also not say that Riddhiman can't bat. Right? I might say
Correct.
Rishabh might be a better batsman than Riddhiman, but that does not mean that Riddhiman can't bat or Rishabh can't keep. So I think those are perceptions. I would urge people to make their own decisions, look at that, look at the game and make their own decisions, not just go by cold numbers. Numbers, as I mentioned, they mean a lot, they do have meaning, but those are cold numbers. Please assess and trust your eyes, what you see.
Okay. So we have a question here that would probably give us a unanimous answer on this panel. We've got
Oops. I think her
So,
internet connection snapped out, Deep. I think let me try and get the
let's
question.
take a few more
Uh,
questions then, huh?
there were many. Are you able to see the question, Deep?
Yes, I can. Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
take what?
I'm
There she
yeah.
sure.
is. I
So
think
Riddhiman,
I'm
she's
back.
back.
I'm back.
Go ahead,
There she is.
please.
There
So
she
for
is. Yeah,
test,
go for it.
so for test, Saha 100%, and for 2020 Pant, your thoughts?
Deep, take it. I couldn't
For
hear
me,
it. Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
okay. For me, I think Ridhima 2020 and one day it is KL Rahul for sure. I'm not thinking beyond him at this point in time. Rishabh
Yeah.
again, he'll always be in the scene for me across three formats without a shadow of doubt. But yeah, I mean, his time will come. His time will come. He's working hard. He's looking leaner. He's looking fitter. Uh, Obviously, he will mature. I think his best cricket is yet to come. His best days are yet to come, and I will always have him in the scene. No two ways. But at this point in time, even test match. Look, I'm gonna. I mean, after the first test match, I'm gonna reassess. I'm
Yeah,
just saying. I think both of us. What are we
Correct.
saying is first test
Yeah.
we will prefer Riddhiman, and then we'll take it up after that.
because
Okay.
I also think because Virat Kohli will not be there. There, I will say
Yeah.
who's a better batsman. I'll bring all of those questions into the
Yeah.
thing. I'll say it's a day test match. I'll say it's MCG. Rishabh Pant can come and do that. I'll say
But
all of those things.
then you're
But
looking at a
But
400
not
run
Virat.
game. As well.
yeah, you the whole dynamic to the series changes, right? With every game. That's test match cricket. The
Yeah.
physicality of test cricket, I don't think anyone appreciates it. Jasprit Bumrah, 155 and a half ounce ball, four slips waiting, or Mitchell Stark to a Mayank Agarwal or a Shubman Gill. Now that's raw madness. That's why the physicality of test cricket you reassess after every game.
Yeah.
Because trust me, if somebody is not concussed in this pink ball test, I'll be very surprised. It's very sad to hear, but with that kind of movement, I'm scared. I told David Warner, I'm scared for someone because that day when the ball was moving and from both teams, man,
Yeah.
jagging like here, there, and you're like, how are these guys expected to play when even better quality bowlers will be on view, especially when it's getting towards evening and dusk and all of that. So some blows, but again, that will bring out character. So that's a phenomenal test match to watch.
All right, gentlemen, before we close the show, one last question, which is guess what? Who is it on? It's on Rohit Sharma. So the question is Manish Agarwal is asking, will Rohit be in the playing 11 directly after the two test matches? Boreba?
Let him go. Let him finish his hard quarantine. Uh, I expect Rohit to be fit for sure, and he has to also train for the 10 days. So give him the 10 days of training under the eyes of the team management. At that point in time, it's Ajinkya, Virat, Ravi, Bharat, and the rest. Obviously, Virat will have his inputs from India if he wants to, but see, it's Rohit. Now you want the presence of a Rohit Sharma and Sydney day game, good batting deck. I would say yes. One would be tilted towards having Rohit, but where is his fitness? The hard quarantine, 14 days, will it have pushed him back a little bit? All of these are questions that only after Christmas you will have the answer to. For the moment,
Yeah.
on Sports Today, let's wish the man a belated happy anniversary. I had a chat with him last night, a brief chat on his anniversary. And I said, it's not the two of you, the three of you. And that Rohit Sharma story always sticks to me when he travels. And it's the truth for all of us. You aren't married. Deep and I have children. So, you know, that story where he said that when we travel, again, we are undertaking a tour, and Ritika would hang the that accreditation card uh, with the child's what is it called? Dolna ke ki bole Deep? What is it called? The child's
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
The carry card, the
Okay,
bassinet. Bassinet.
the bassinet. Okay, the child's bassinet would have Rohit's accreditation card. Why? Because every time the child would wake up, the mother would show that this is your father, because the father's not around. And that's how the recollection happened with the child. So when Rohit would come back home, the child knew who she was talking to, that this is the father. He may not have been around, but he was there every day. For me, such stories make sense. Wait for 14
Right.
more days, you will see where Rohit is.
Yep. All right. I hope that answers your questions to all our viewers who are watching us. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thanks a lot for joining in. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Now, listen, we've been creating content on Sports Today for a while. I just want you guys to give us a feedback on our Twitter channel or Instagram, or you can write your comments below this particular video. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong. We'll definitely improve on it because we are looking forward to some great feedbacks here. And also stay tuned because tomorrow we have a very, very special show coming in. Thank you so much for joining in. As for now, have a great day ahead.